The movie? Yeah, I showed up. I went to the front. I bought a bag of popcorn. I went back inside. Oh, I was on screen. I'm Rich Nair. Vito Spinaca was the guy that I played. Kavish? That was me. Vito is a grumpy son of a bitch. His life, he's a money collector. He works for the big guys. He's got to crush some small guys. He also has to lend some money. You know what I'm saying? He's got to make juice. The juice is always better than interest. It's street interest. You know what I'm saying? So, Kavish?
Kavish.
So, that's my job. Do I like it? It pays my bills. It pays my bills. It lets me buy a new car sometimes. Buy something for the chicks, you know what I'm saying? So, if I got to break a few knuckles, got to break a leg or two or an arm or something, that's what we got to do. But we got to fire a warning shot usually. And you don't want to kill them. You never want to kill them. Because once they're dead, they're not going to pay. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. So it's not an easy job. It's kind of like walking a tightrope. Well, that's a good question. Ralph's a nice guy. He's a little confused. His cousin wants to borrow money from me, but really, he was trying to borrow it for Ralph. I figured that out. I'm not stupid. I've been on the street a long time. You know what I'm saying? Kabish? So, you could borrow for your cousin, but you're going to owe it. At the end of the day, you're going to owe it. You're going to need to pay. Poor Ralph's trying to borrow money. He's borrowing it from the wrong guy. He thinks I'm going to be a pushover. I'm not going to be a pushover. I'm going to get paid. Well, here's the deal. At the end of the day, we're born naked and we die naked, right? So we rely on people, but at the end of the day, we're basically in orbit all by ourselves. The planets are swirling around us, and we're in the middle. We're responsible for ourselves. Hey, I'll take care of you, take care of me. You don't take care of me, I won't take care of you. You know what I'm saying? So we're all free agents at the end of the day trying to do something that benefits everybody in the long run, and if it doesn't, and it doesn't. So I've been to a few places, and I've hung around a few places, and I've seen for years people similar to Vito. People that do what Vito does, or people that seem to be like Vito, or people that I've heard are like Vito. We've seen real people like that. I've seen them. We've also seen lots of movies, but I've seen it in real life for years. So I think Vito's kind of a conglomerate of a few different people squashed together, and I based Vito on a kind of a multifaceted character who sometimes tries to be a little funny, but at the end of the day, in that humor is, deadpan seriousness. Like, you cut through it and you see that he just wants to get paid at the end of the day, but he's willing to give you a little bit of a chance. So Vito comes from a few places, and that's who Vito is. As I mentioned before, Vito knows. He tries to figure out what the line is, between pushing too hard, threatening too hard, and also getting paid. He tries to let people know that it was a loan. He's willing to pay to get some juice back. That's where you make your money. You don't lend money for free. And I think that Vito, he's probably seen a few people get whacked for not taking care of business. Someone goes away, you don't get paid, so it's kind of like fishing. You throw your bait in the water and you got a fish on line. You pull too goddamn hard and you rip it out of its mouth. Now you got nothing to bring on board. So you kind of got to play the fishing line a little bit and hope that you eventually are able to land a fish on board, get the juice back that you delivered. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but no one wants to wait forever. Who knows if we're around for that long? Capiche? All of them. I thought they were all great. I enjoyed the whole film. It was lots of fun. I enjoyed acting with everybody, being with everybody, watching everybody bloom, you know, their characters, and I'll be very happy to see the final product on the big screen. And we'll see how it all like mixed together, a melange of beautiful film. Okay, well, Ralph was a complicated character, you know. You saw Ralph in the beginning as someone who was a little bit desperate for money, desperate for love, and then as it unfolded, you realize he had some issues. So you start to feel a little sorry for him, but I'm not going to be able to do that. I mean, if I start feeling sorry for him, then it's going to be hard to get paid back. And I don't want to be like that. I had him come into the car one day and I had to have a conversation with him. And I had to be like the stern uncle, you know what I'm saying? And let him know I wasn't playing around. I mean, at the same time, I understood he had problems, but hey, when it comes down to the greenbacks, to the Benjamins, to borrowing the money, you know, you got to know who you're dealing with. And once the money's out the door, it's going to have to come back a little bit more than what you lent. You know what I'm saying? So that's my story. I mean, who is Vito? I mean, Vito's there to kind of be a go-between of some of these characters and kind of reveal some people's frailties and some people's strengths and bring out maybe some qualities that aren't so great in others. So I basically, as Vito, you know, once I push some of these characters, we're kind of seeing how they act and kind of what they're made of, I think. Maybe that was my goal. Maybe that was my job, you know? Oh, that fucking guy. Let me tell you about that guy. No, Santino did a great job directing. Uh, I've enjoyed working with him on the two films that we've done. I enjoy doing these Italian based, culturally based films. There's a lot of history in it. My dad was from Brooklyn. My mom was from Jersey. You know, so, you know, I know a lot of it going way back culturally. You know, a lot of it started out coming over on the boats past the Statue of Liberty into New York and then coming to the Midwest. And eventually a lot of it ended up in Vegas, right? But at the end of the day, it all started on the East Coast. So we got a big mix of people, and I think Santino's movies deal with New York, Chicago, and you know, recognize there's a couple different coasts and different history, different families, and make it fun to watch. Uh, well, so I didn't speak in a normal voice. I used a little bit of wasn't easy to do Vito's voice actually. I took a lot of cough drops and you know had a shot now and then. I mean, it was pretty hard physically to do Vito's voice. I mean, I like you know accents. I like dialects and all that. His was more like a bullfrog, you know. And I don't do bullfrog very often, so that was fun, you know. And so this frog walks into a barbecue place. Speaking of which, and he decides to order some barbecue. So, what's a frog's favorite barbecue? Ribbits. All right. Thank you very much. Gruff. He's been through a lot. He's seen a lot. He's a veteran of all these guys, money lenders, mobsters, you know, lower level guys, generals, soldiers. He's seen all of it. They still make him work though. So as long as there's green out there, he's going to lend it and collect. So, you know, he's a little rough around the edges.